ZEPBOUND Day 6, struggling with ZEPBOUND appetite suppression. Hi friends, I've got the answers for you today from my experience, strength, and hope of losing over 90 pounds the last year and a half of my life. And on today's episode, we're going to go through seven tips for you to hopefully help you with appetite suppression and things recently I have been doing personally because I'm encountering this. A viewer asked this awesome question and I want to go through and answer. I've got a ton of suggestions for you and that hopefully you can grab onto some of these nuggets and implement them into your own ZEPBOUND weight loss journey. As always, I'm never giving medical advice, simply my experience, strength, and hope. Let's dive in. So let's talk a little bit about ZEPBOUND. Naturally, ZEPBOUND has, for tip number 1, a half-life dose on day 5, 6, and 7. So you're like, Elizabeth, what does that mean? Well, I'm going to draw my handy dandy diagram here. This is Elizabeth medical interpretation. It's not medical at all. It's my experience. And so on day, typically I take my injection here. Let's just say that that's Monday. And then I ride this wave of amazing appetite suppression. We'll say that that's Tuesday. For me, I need you to track for your own self. But for me, this is from my tracking my own personal data of being a data nerd and analyzing this the last year and a half. So from, say, going in from Monday to Tuesday, that's 24 hours, essentially into 36, 48 hours, I have this great appetite suppression window. It is phenomenal. So fantastic. I love it so much. I'm like, the world is my oyster. But then, friends, then it starts to dip down for me. Dip down, dip down. I'm still having amazing appetite suppression. Let's not get it twisted. From where I was morbidly obese a year and a half ago, I still had a tremendous amount, I still have a tremendous amount of appetite suppression because I literally was off ZEPBOUND for 11 days and it was not pleasant for me rounding that 11th day before my injection and getting back on, of course, onto ZEPBOUND. So then it wanes a little bit and then so now there's the half-life dose at day 5, 6, and 7. So we're naturally having this coming down moment. And some people think that this coming down moment, oh my gosh, there's something wrong with me. Babes, there's nothing wrong with you. Bibs and dudes, there's nothing wrong with you, my love. That is just the nature of the beast, so to speak. And then it goes back and then you take your injection again and then we go back up on this roller coaster. So it really is, that's to alleviate your fears. One, it's totally normal. It's totally normal. And for me, going from eating these huge plate-sized, multiple plate-sized portions to then these smaller plate-sized portions to have them back having appetite, I'm like, oh, I don't know how to handle it. For me, that's been part of this process of relearning my relationship with food. And so that's one of the things that I really want to encourage you of. One, this is naturally. Number 2 is it near your cycle? Straight up for the ladies out there, all the ladies, put your hands up. So if you're naturally near your cycle, you very well maybe wanting to eat more. Gentlemen, plug your ears, earmuffs. For me, last week was before my cycle, and y'all, I was hungry like a wolf. I was craving foods, and y'all, I was just I'm gonna lean into my protein and I'm gonna allow myself to eat healthy, lean protein and fruits and vegetables. And I wanted sweet stuff, and which we're gonna talk about too here in a little bit. You're gonna wanna stay till the end because I have number 5 is very embarrassing for me, and I'm gonna get very authentic, but I'm in hopes of it helping you. So make sure you stay. There's 7 of them, but number 5 is woo-hoo. And number 3, tracking protein. For me, tracking that protein has been huge. And a dietitian, you can see, binge watch the episode down below of where I'm interviewing a dietitian. She has her master's degree in nutrition. She's a GLP-1 specific dietitian, brilliant person. And she said 100 to 120 grams of protein per day. Do I have that for me on those beginning days? No. At that peak thing, I'm not hitting any food, really. I mean, not any food, but that is an exaggeration. I'm hitting substantially less food, but I am protein focused during that pocket. But on these other days, the half-life dose is on day 5, 6, and 7. And that's our focus for today is day 6, day 5, 6, and 7. But day 6, tracking my protein because a track number grows. I don't know about you, coming from a very unhealthy relationship with food, I did not track for a while. And then I did. And then I didn't. And anyways, go back to tracking. So for tracking for that, that means for me, and I don't think I pulled it over. I wanted to say I have down on my Amazon shopping list, did I not bring it up? My scale, I have a food scale. And so I do weigh and measure my food. Some people can find that jarring, but for me, I've needed that in a love, grace, kindness, compassion way to track my food so I can learn what a portion size is. What is a flippin' portion size? You know what I mean? Like a portion size for this chick on the right, for my morbidly obese former self, was like, oh, I'll take 3. And now it's like, oh, okay. So like that's what 5 ounces of chicken looks like, or that's what 6 ounces of ahi tuna looks like, or like, you know what I mean? Like I had no idea. I don't know. And so for me, tracking and measuring has now become this beautiful self-love tool. And so I highly recommend it if you are like me and have this distorted version of portions. Tracking protein. I have been doing 100 to 120 grams, and I'm challenging myself this week to test 140 grams. Now I'm almost 6 feet tall. And so for me, I'm very curious what will happen this week. So stay tuned, click that like and subscribe button from when I go up to 140 grams per day on day 5, 6, and 7 predominantly. And by the way, I'm not going to superfluously eat unnecessary just to hit this protein goal, right? Like I'm eating to feel full, and what my body's telling me with that intuition of it has been really helpful for me. And so anyways, going back to finding an app you love to track that, and also a scale for me. I didn't have a food scale, so I had to buy one. And so now I actually have a couple. And I thought I brought it in the studio with me, and I didn't. But there's tons on my Amazon shopping list for Countess of shopping down below. Number 4, I have, if you've noticed here on my content, it has very much changed of weaving in Profi. If you don't know what Profi is, it's protein coffee. So one of my besties raved about. You know who you are. If he's watching, he knows who he is. He always talks about coffee, and I'm like, what is protein coffee? And so he would go through his recipes with me, and I've done several videos, you can go binge watch those, of different ways of making coffee. But coffee has in it, I use decaf espresso. You know what? Your girl doesn't need any more caffeine, okay? So I use decaf espresso, and then I use protein powder with it, and it varies per day. I have switched them up. You're going to want to stay tuned. I'm going to be having a PSL, a pumpkin spice latte coffee coming up. I'm so excited about it. Literally, I just ordered all the stuff today. So what I use is BIOPTIMIZERS. First and foremost, this is their chocolate one. It's the chocolate protein breakthrough. And I love this one. You can actually make even like a protein pudding out of it. You can make a ton of different stuff. Protein muffins, protein loaves, like there's a lot of other things that you can use with this if you don't necessarily want to have a shake, although the shake is so easy to do. So literally what I'll do with this is I'll take my 2 scoops, and then I'll add in there half water, half Fairlife milk, just because it's like extra protein in it. Shake it all about together in my little protein shaker, and then that's like the protein part. Within the protein breakthrough, it has in here for the 2 scoops, I don't know if this one's open, 200, I wanted to show you guys the scooper, 230, only 230 calories. Oh, it's brand new, with 23 grams of protein. So it's super, super filling. And so that's my encouragement, is how, I'm gonna put my hand in here to get this scooper. Sorry, my inner germphobe is not liking that I didn't wash my hands prior to doing this, but I'm just gonna keep rolling with, we're gonna keep rolling with it. This is what the scooper looks like. It's so good. It's so good. Now I have just chocolate all over my hands and on my Gucci notebook. Okay, we're just gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going. It smells so good, by the way. It smells like brownies. Delicious fudgy. It, like the protein pudding with it tastes like fudgy brownies. They're really good. Protein ones though. So it has in there. No disrespect to the Gucci notebook. I just flipped it in my face. So it has in here the coffee. That for me, I now have twice a day. And when I am footloose and fancy free and I don't just want chocolate, because y'all know I'm bougie, I like a little extra, I will frequently add in the salted caramel from the BIOPTIMIZERS Mushroom Breakthrough. It's so good. It has in there collagen, the bovine collagen, and marine collagen. Delicious. It does not, you're like, does it taste like mushrooms? Not at all. It tastes like salted caramel. So mixing that with this, or they have a chai one that I also really like too. Bottom line, protein coffees. Having those, you can use the discount code QUEEN. I'll link down below in the description the link for these as well. It's so good to get an extra 10% off by using QUEEN. It is so good. It is so good, and it's plant-based. So if you're plant-based folks, delicious plant-based proteins. Many of you have asked me about plant-based proteins, and that is my fave. And I love doing the proffies because then I just add 2 shots of decaf espresso into that with ice in my big old 40-ounce tumblers. And I'm not going to make one today on set because I've already made a big enough mess. Water and like the coffee and electronics we're gonna pass for today, but putting it in here, and it's so good, it's so fun because I'll play a little game with myself of like, okay, what profit am I gonna have today? Like, you can mix and match to make proffies so many different ways. Well, 2 of those is 40 grams of protein. You know what I am not on my 2 protein a day profit days? I'm not hungry. So days 5, 6, and 7 for me have changed. They used to be this like, even on Zepbound, and I'm on Zepbound 15 milligrams, I'm at the highest. Normally I would say, hey, maybe talk to your healthcare provider about titrating up if you're having a strong lack of appetite suppression. And side note on that, if you're on Zepbound 2.5 milligrams, yeah, you're probably, yeah, you're gonna need to titrate up. You're gonna need to talk to your healthcare provider. Like, it's totally normal. Although if you didn't see the interview with Linda, my Zepbound before and after success interview, Linda's been on for, as of the filming time, 34 weeks, 2.5 milligrams Zepbound. She never titrated up and lost over 50 pounds. Like, so anyways, I digress. So I'm using that as an example of you don't necessarily have to titrate up, just saying. But going back over of weaving in that protein coffee. Now, if you don't want to do proffies, protein coffees, you don't want like decaf espresso. Some people use cold brew. You can do whatever. If that does not interest you, for me, it makes me so excited, and I'm so excited. But for some people, that does not excite them. So maybe what would excite you is to make protein puddings, where you just take protein powder, mix it with a little bit of water or Fairlife milk or almond milk, just a little bit in there, and it makes like a pudding consistency. You could add a little bit of fat-free Jello mix in there too, like the Jello pudding mix on there as well, in addition to the BIOPTIMIZERS protein breakthrough. So like, if that makes you excited, whatever makes you excited. Whatever makes you excited. Like, that's what I want to encourage you. You need to find what makes you like, woo, right? And for me, 2 things we need to absolutely change. Eli Lilly tells us our appetite, not our appetite. That's not it at all. That's not what I was trying to say. I don't know why I just said that. Our food, like our diet, and then working out. For me, my workouts, what I was thinking when I said that was I love doing Pilates now. I don't know who I am and who's invaded my body, but I love it so much. It is an amazing workout for me. I love walking. This morning I walked 3 miles. I would walk 500 miles. Like, I love walking. I love walking my dog, Mr. Freddie. It makes me sincerely happy. What makes you giddy and sincerely happy doing it that's physical? And food. Okay? Yeah. You need to figure that out for yourself. I feel like that's part of this journey too. And like the most loving kind of, you need to figure that out for yourself. I said that really mean. I wasn't trying to be mean. You need to figure that out. Like, that's part of the journey, I feel like. Part of this Zepbound journey, it's finding things you love and that make your heart go pitter patter, right? We have a second shot at life here, at least I do, by taking this medication. I was morbidly obese, meaning morbidly is the key word in there, meaning thought I was gonna die pretty soon. And now I have this whole new lease on life, so much so we're reorganizing our finances because I'm gonna live a lot longer than I thought. Like a weekly conversation in our house. I digress. So adding in there proffies for me, been mage. Next appetite suppression thing for if you're struggling with this, and also the inverse is true too if you are not struggling and you're just not eating, focusing on protein, same thing, still is a great suggestion because we need it to combat muscle mass loss. Not just for Zepbound weight loss or WEGOVY weight loss, but for any sort of massive weight loss. Muscle mass is a part of that. So we're trying to 1-2 punch against having that muscle mass loss by having protein because it will help us with hopefully build muscle, which burns more calories and things like that. Number 5. Okay, so this is the one that I said it's kind of embarrassing for me, but I'm going to keep it real. If you're struggling, particularly by day 5, 6, and 7, day 6, with Zepbound appetite suppression, going back to the tracking thing, was so triggered by that for years. And I thought it was because of diet culture. And I don't know why. I'm not even going to psychoanalyze myself as to why, but it was a thing for me of where I could track for a little bit, but not for a long time without getting massively triggered and then binge eating. And then in those binge eating, having 3,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 more calories, a lot of calories. There was no way I was ever going to lose weight. Hello. That was this vicious, horrible, gnarly cycle that I would not wish on my worst enemy, particularly during COVID. Shameful. Felt very ashamed about that. And so this thought of reinventing my life with Zepbound gave me a new lease on life of I did have appetite suppression and I did feel full and I felt like a new woman. Like, oh my gosh, the clarity in my brain, my anxiety was way lessened. Like all of these things. So beautiful. Like one of the many gifts of Zepbound. But I realized in this that, and it makes me emotional because I've come a long way. Like I've come a really long way from this, but I needed outside help. I needed literally a therapist to help me and talk through about why I was having such a juggernaut of not being able to track my food. It seems very simplistic, but for me, as I've gone through the Zepbound journey, when there's these like visceral reactions to stuff, and that's for me to bring up to my therapist because it has been a shedding process, literally and figuratively, to lose over 90 pounds of literally getting rid of the weight, but the internal, I almost just cussed. I'm not trying to cuss on this channel. The internal shizzle with it that comes along with it that I've had to replace with healthy stuff, I've needed a therapist to walk through with me. And that's taken a lot of strength because I've been really embarrassed about it. And I wanted to be able to do it on my own, and I'm independent, and I'm a successful woman with my everything in my life except for this weight thing. And so like with my husband and my career and my kid and just like I feel like I'm successful except for this food thing. And it felt very weird to me being on the Zepbound journey, being like, why can I not just flip and enter my food in on my phone? Why? Like, why am I a whack job? I'm not a whack job. It's literally, there was baggage that needed to get unpacked associated with that I had to turn to a therapist to help me. Once I did that and faced that, I could track food. Now that I'm tracking food without having that emotional attachment, same thing with weighing myself on the scale, by the way. If you were getting emotionally triggered weighing yourself on the scale, perhaps talking to an outside therapist about that. I feel like I need to talk about this topic more, and I'm going to, because I've had a lot of shame about having to have outside help, and there's no shame in that game, baby, because it's helped me so much to push past to get to my 100-pound weight loss and to push past where I need to go with my physical health. Part of it's been mental. And now that I have the tool of Zepbound, needing these other resources to come in and help me like a therapist. All that to say, my portion sizes were very unrealistic once I started to track. And I realized with pattern recognition, oh, what I thought was 5 ounces of chicken really was like 15. It was like triple the size. Oh, I thought what a cup was of whatever was really like, you know, this distorted view. So for me, people talk about like body dysmorphia and stuff like that. I'm like, I had food dysmorphia of like whack job portion sizes in there of where I thought that was normal. Oh, I was parceling out for my kid mac and cheese. And my husband's like, that's a really big portion. And I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's not. And then we went to go, he's like, why don't you just go, you know, look at it with a cup measure? And I'm like, oh my gosh, this was a massive portion. There's no way my kid was going to eat that. But like, I've been doing this for so long with food, I didn't recognize it. So it's been helpful for me to kind of break these things down with tracking, which is why I go back to weighing and measure my food and now not being triggered by it. I've not binged as a result of it. And it's been, now I've been tracking for a while and it's good. It's very helpful for me. People ask me what app I use. I used to use Weight Watchers, don't use them anymore. I moved to my Fitness Pal because it was free. And then now I text myself. It sounds, excuse me, not smart, but it is smart because it's teaching me calories and protein and portion sizes. And for now, that's what I can handle. I know I'll add in more, like I'll go to an app or I'll switch it up. But for now, that's really working for me to really comprehend, understand, learn. And the most important thing is take action, right? Like how we've learned something. Alex Hormozi talks about this a lot. I got to go to his seminar recently, and his whole thing was about learning is you haven't learned it unless you're doing, like unless you're taking action on it. So for me, taking the action of tracking has been so helpful in texting myself that. So I have a daily recall throughout the day of how many calories. Yesterday, I really wanted cheddar popcorn really badly. Like, oh my gosh, I was just craving it. And so I ended up having it, but I had to rework. Like I needed to go out and walk a little bit more. And I ended up having, substituting for dinner, one of my sides, I made it just vegetables instead. And then I could have this delicious popcorn and I savored it and I enjoyed it and it was awesome. And it's helping me get to my healthy goals of where I want to be and learning what portion sizes look like with that. And that, my friends, is helping my appetite suppression. So how we're looping all that story back over to get to the point is that appetite suppression, I need to learn what that looks like too, right? Is it, and I've talked about this before, head hunger or real hunger? And learning that and having that discernment with it, super, super important. And that's number 6, is learning that head hunger versus physical hunger. Frequently when I'm stressed or late at night, for me, it is the head hunger. It has nothing to do with my food. And because I've been tracking, I have facts, I have evidence to reinforce to myself, I've had a really nutritious day. Let's call it quits, right? Like the other day I wanted that popcorn and I chose not to have it because I'm like, it's going to push me over my calories. And right now my health goals are way stronger than having that cheddar popcorn. And then when I did have it, I really savored it and enjoyed it. And I was, oh, amazing. But going back over that, this takes time. It takes a hot second to figure these things out. Okay, let's go over to, where was I? Number 7, water replacement, that grabbing for water. After I walk, I come back and I fill up my 40-ounce tumbler right away with water. Later on, I'll have electrolytes, I'll have other stuff. That water though, that for me has been really important. And now that I'm getting out of camp mode and like summer mode and getting back into thinking about back to school, it means car pickup line, having my handy dandy water bottle. They're all also down on Countess of Shopping on my Amazon storefront too, that you can shop with the link down below. Number 8, this is the bonus. I said I was going to do 7, but if you stayed this long, you get a bonus tip. For me, sleep heavily. Like I look back for when my son was little and I didn't sleep. My husband and I were just talking about this. What a big game changer of having sleep. So when I don't have sleep, I massively notice it now. And I have switched over, and many of you guys have heard me share about this, but it's so important, of using 7 types of magnesium through BIOPTIMIZERS. And I'll link down below the discount code's Queen. It helps with my sleep so much. More than 70% of people have magnesium deficiency. Sleep matters for my appetite, for me. And changing this, I literally have factual data on my Oura Ring showing me without using the 7 types of magnesium and using it with the other types of 7 types of magnesium. This is superior. Superior. And they actually do have powder format too if you're interested. Some people are like, I don't want to take a pill. Then don't. Get the powder format. Powder format has 8 types of magnesium in it. I like the pills because it's easy. And y'all know I like pop my mouth guard in. You guys watch my Countess of Shopping Instagram stories, I have my mouth guard in. So these going through with day 5, 6, and 7, I'm sure for me, this will continue to evolve, right? We have opposable thumbs because we have evolved as human beings. As I go through GLP-1 medication, right now, these are some of my appetite suppression solutions for day 5, 6, and 7. Embracing though, feeling my hunger and feeling that just as much as feeling full has been important, right? Like that's being a human being. And so my encouragement for you also is real. This is the extra bonus tip. The extra, so it's really 9 tips, is are your expectations expectating? Are your expectations realistic, right? Like for me, if I thought, going back to ZEPBOUND at the very beginning, when I first had for my first shot, I lost, what was it, like 11 pounds or something crazy in 1 week. It was crazy. I was not really very hungry at all. I don't know if it was physical, all mental, both, I don't know, but I had not felt that in my life ever. And I'm not necessarily going to get that back. I don't think. It's not that the medication has stopped working for me, because it's not. That's not true, actually. My body's fighting against me because I've lost so much weight. And so it's just requiring, not just because that's a diminishing word, it is requiring more effort on my part to get to where I need to go. And more so, the effort is fine-tuning and tweaking my health goals. Like having BIOPTIMIZERS Protein Breakthrough. Do you know how many like vitamins and minerals and stuff is in there? It's got so much stuff in there. 7 grams of fiber. Did you know we're supposed to have 25 grams of fiber in a day? Without using a protein supplement, for me, I was not hitting my protein. I wish I said this earlier. I was not hitting my protein goals for the day without having a Profi or protein supplements. So this is why it's huge for me. And in a given day, we're supposed to have, I think, 24 grams of protein, 24 grams of fiber. This is 7. So straight out of the gate, like that's amazing. An apple has 4, FYI, to give context. So having 2 of these, I'm having 14 grams of fiber. It's soy-free, gluten-free, vegan, all that stuff. But it has in there, I would not have that normally. And I tried, friends. I was like, I'm not going to do supplements. I'm not going to do protein shakes. I'm going to eat all natural food. You know what? I was flipping hungry and I was not hitting my weight goals. Flipping over to having protein supplements, mage for me. Game changer. Full losing weight, my skin's different, my body feels different, I'm building muscle, I'm hitting my, I'm doing the things that I wanted to do. And it tastes good. And for me, I'm doing that. I'm doing that. I'm doing it. And yes, I could have multiple ahi tuna fillets or like fresh ground chicken or turkey or whatever. Also, that's very expensive. This, relatively speaking, substantially less expensive, but substantially higher ingredients. It's amazing. It's amazing. So those have been, if you're struggling with the appetite suppression, hopefully these tips help you as much as they've helped me. I'm sure this will evolve as we go through, as I mentioned. My Gucci, no, by the way, I have a Gucci guy. I have a stylist, and he is so sweet. He sent this to me. So Joshua, if you're watching, bless you. That was very kind of you. Sorry, I got protein powder all over it. Like underneath my fingernails. I need to invent like a hook to scoop out those scoopers in there, but this one wasn't opened. So no, the one that I use is in my kitchen. Sweet friends, everything that we've talked about is down in the description link below. Your accountability question. What are you doing today to move you closer to your goals, both food-wise and physically? Tell me in the comments. Number 2, your emoji of the day. Emoji of the day is going to be a cheers. We're going to do a cheers emoji. I love those. So they make me so happy. Cheers. And that tells me you made it this far in the video. And also, it's my cue to get to know you better. And thirdly, I'll pray over you. It's like my bat signal. I'll pray over you. If you don't believe in prayer, uplift you in positive thought. But cheers is the emoji of the day. Sweet friends, we live a great life. Like, how blessed are we to be in this time that we live in? My grandmother did not have this opportunity. We have this opportunity to grab life by the cojones. So let's take it today. Let's grab them by the cojones. Let's go do this thing. Let's focus in on our health, being good, kind, loving people. Let's focus in on positivity within ourselves, and that's going to permeate out to other people. So, in our free encouragement group, we will continue this dialogue too, of course. Sweet friends, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Countess of shopping and count my blessings, because life truly is delicious. It's more delicious with BIOPTIMIZERS too. Have a great day. Love y'all.